Last week we looked at themes in literature. This week we're going to look at themes in poetry. So you first had to look at the cartoon here on this page and tell what the characters were doing, what the characters say, and how it ended. And you use that information to come up with the theme of the cartoon. The next page looks at a poem. So the first one, what did the characters say? So one of the characters is stressed out about their homework and the other one's like, I can help you with that. So on this page, on the following page, you should have said that. One person's stressed, the other character is helping. You can say it in your own words. You can say it like this example answer does. Zoom in case y'all can't see that very well. Okay, and then we needed to say, what do the characters do? Well, one character sits with the other one and at night to watch the sunset. So they sit and watch the sunset and the stars come out. You can write it in your own words or you can write it in these words. How does the comic strip end? The character who is stressed is no longer stressed. The girl is no longer stressed. And then what is the theme of the story? Or the theme of the comic strip, actually? Night can ease the worries of the day. So when you're having a bad, stressful time, if you just take a minute at night to sit and let the worries of the day slip away, it can take those worries away. The next page was Darkness in the Desert. It was a poem. You first had to do the closed reader habits down here, where it says, when you reread the poem, circle the words and phrases that tell the topic of the poem, then underline details that show the speaker's reflections on the topic. So the topic was all about the desert animals and how they acted in the day versus how they acted in the night. So some things that you should have circled, if I can get this camera situated. The things you should have circled were desert animals in the day. When it turns light, they creep beneath the ground to fall asleep. So these are some actions of the desert animals during the day. When it's day, they're sleeping underground. Then in the night, it says the animals creep from their dens. So they come out of their dens and they're active at night. That's called nocturnal, when animals are asleep in the day and awake at night. And then you had to underline details that show the speaker's reaction to the topic. That was down here. So in deserts, through the times reverse, the dark is good, the light is worse. So it's opposite of what most people do. The dark is good, the light is bad. The daytime is the time to rest. For desert creatures, night is best. So for the desert creatures, it's better for them to be out at night and sleep during the day. And do you know why it's better for them to be out during the night and sleep during the day? It's too hot in the desert during the day for them to be out. So make sure you have those marked on page 136. Now we're going to look at 137. At the chart, what is the topic of the poem? You should have written something similar to the topic of the poem is how desert animals act in the day and night. How animals respond to day and night in the desert. Then what are the details about the topic? Well, the details would have been what we circled, that the animals in the day in the desert are awake. The details would have been animals in the desert are sleeping during the day and awake during the night. Desert animals day, when it turns light, they creep beneath the ground to fall asleep. At night, the animals creep from their dens. You can put it in these words. This is what we circled on the previous page, or you can write it in your own words. What are the speaker's reflections on the topic? This is what we already underlined using our closed reader habits. In deserts, though, the time reverse. The dark is good, the light is worse. The daytime is the time to rest. For desert creatures, night is best. And then finally, what is the theme of the poem? So the theme of the poem is that daytime isn't always best for everyone. It might be best for you and I, but it isn't best for everyone. So for some, the night is better time than the day. You can think about nurses and doctors and even casino workers who have to work during the nighttime. Okay, the daytime's not best for them. The nighttime's what's best for them. That's when they go out and are working and making their livelihood. All right, you also had to do the open response on page 140. It asked you, what is the theme of the poem, Darkness in the Desert? Use examples from the poem and your chart to support your answer. So it says, start your response by stating the theme of the poem in a sentence. So we already have all of this information in our chart on the previous page. They just want us to take it and write it in paragraph form. So if you remember, the theme of the poem was not everybody, the daytime isn't best for everyone. So the theme is that for some, the night is better time than the day. The speaker notes that desert animals are busy at night. They come out of their dens to play after dark. They call to each other and they find some food and water. So we stated the theme and we said what the animals do that we learned about in the poem at night. The speaker says the desert fox, the mouse, the hare, at night they scamper here and there. During the day, in contrast, desert animals go underground to sleep and escape in the hot temperatures. The speaker's reflection that the dark is good, the light is worse, for desert creatures sums up the theme of the poem. So make sure your answer is something similar. You need to talk about the theme, how day isn't best for everyone, and then cite text-based evidence theme. Now, although this isn't in your workbook, you also need to glue down this word study sheet in your word study notebook. You're going to be working on the suffixes ER and EST this week. ER is used to compare two things, while EST is to compare more than two things. Like she is taller than he is, or he is the tallest one of all. These should be some pretty easy suffixes to do your word study activities with this week. Make sure that you do 4 activities this week. If y'all have questions, email me.